Hi, I'm Chris Brouillard-Coyle, and I have to start by saying for a really long time, I thought gardening was a waste of time. I just didn't get the whole process of planting impatiens and begonias every year, and you have to take care of them and water them and then do it all the next year. And even the perennials you have to take care of and watch. And I thought, why are we doing this? You know, if you look at a meadow, if you look at a forest, the things just grow. So why do I have to work so hard for something in the garden? And so I was a very negligent gardener, and I just really just kind of stopped doing it and just let the stuff kind of grow. And it got to a point where it kind of got overgrown. And so in just a fit of, I don't know, I needed to do something one day, I started pulling out those standard evergreens that you have in your garden, because there's kind of overgrown over here, and I just felt like, okay, I don't want this anymore. So I pulled it out and I kind of left it, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And in the meantime, I got a hold of the book Bee Time, Lessons from the Hive. And in that book, they talk about the wisdom of bees. And I thought, bees, wise? I mean, they buzz around and they pollinate stuff and cool, but there was so much more to it, and the collective way that they gather and choose where they build their hives, and you know, how they pollinate, and you know, it got me thinking about what is gardening. And at the same time, I got a hold of Urca's native plant guide, and there's like 31 plants that are listed on Urca's guide, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And these plants, they're hosts for butterflies, they draw birds. Why don't I try and put some of those in and see what happens? And so in the first year, I started pretty simple. It was, you know, less than a quarter of what I have right now. And I started with some really simple plants like landsleaf coreopsis and gray-headed coneflower, like you see here. And I got a hold of Ojibwe, because I'm like, where do I buy these plants? And there's another odd thing. It's really hard to find native plants. At least 5 years ago, it was really hard to find the native plants. And so I ended up getting a hold of native trees and plants in Amherstburg. Darlene and Vic love them. And they walked me through it. And I picked up things like the cup plant and compass plant and tall coreopsis. And I got those in and kind of let them be and see what would happen. And of course, all of a sudden, we're starting to see more bees. And I didn't realize how many different kinds of bees and wasps we had until I started walking around the garden that first year and went, wow, look at all these bees and wasps. And I started seeing butterflies, because of course I added milkweed. Everybody knows about milkweed, drawing the monarchs. And I thought, hey, this is great. And started to really enjoy it. And plus, I didn't really have to do a lot, because, you know, they kind of take care of themselves. They did kind of evolve here. But what really sold it for me and my family was that first year. And I'm working by the window, and I look out, and on the cup plant and on the gray-headed coneflower in the fall, they're filled with goldfinch, fueling up for their long flight, their migration. And my family just totally got into it. My partner is like, wow, look at, there's those yellow birds on the flowers again. And it's like, well, they're eating the seeds. And it was then that I realized that gardening isn't so much about an aesthetic to please us. It can be an opportunity to give back, to recreate the environment that nature needs, that we took from them with our hardscape and our grass, you know, our perfectly mowed grass that is quite sterile, because we don't allow it to do what it's supposed to do. And it's also overtreated, that it has no value for wildlife. And when you put the native plants back in, you're giving all of what we took away back to nature. I mean, think about what a bag of birdseed is. Birdseed is seed taken from plants that we took away from the birds. And so what we're doing is giving a human-made solution to a human-created problem every time we use bags of birdseed. So instead, I plant the seeds back and let the birds do what they naturally do.